This is Three Beards Media. Real talk, no filters, no scripts. From sports to culture, we say what others won't. Turn it up, lock in, because it all starts right now. Live from the AKC Andrew Downs Studios and powered by Revelton Distilling Company.
Edge of the sky, feel the rumble, hear the battle cry. Out in Ames where the storms ignite, we don't back down, we rise and fight. Jack Trice's name, yeah, it echoes strong. A story of honor still marches on. Through the rain, through the pain, through the fire we roar. Cause we were built to thrive in the eye of the storm. Feel the ground shake, hear the crowd roar. Cyclone power, can't take no more. Legends rise, this is our norm. We stand tall in the side.
All right, welcome back to In the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We're live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company out of Osceola, Iowa, as well as the Iowa Beef Steakhouse, the great Julia Bradshaw, and Style by JJ Boutique, and the official realtor of the show, Jenny Farrell with Remax. And we also want to welcome aboard Nose Pros, that they're the pros that will help you out with all of your remodeling needs. Well, we got a lot of new sponsors here. I'm Dave Larson with my Storm Team partner and Cyclone great Mr. Vintage Brent Big Play Curvey. Brent, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Man, making it, man. Been doing a lot of traveling the past couple of days, so I'm hanging on by a thread, but we making it.
So you've been south, you've been home in Houston, or where you been?
Yep. I drove left Friday morning, drove my mom back to Houston, and then hopped on the road this morning at 4, and now I'm actually in Kansas now to check on. I'm gonna watch a practice tomorrow morning, and I head back on the road. It's like I was gonna try to do it, but that was a lot of driving, man. 20,
Oh yeah.
I think I'm at 26, 27 hours right now, so I'm
since
good.
Friday, since probably what, Friday morning?
Yeah, since Friday. So
Yeah,
I need to sit down for a second. And thankfully, my son got a spot, and he had the house all ready for me. So I've been able to relax for a little bit.
Now, for those, we probably have a lot of newer listeners and viewers because of all the format with the radio and television in central Iowa. I think a lot of people are looking for new formats and new radio and new podcasts to listen to. We of course hope to be one of those. Brent, you want to share, like, why are you in Kansas again?
My son is he's a redshirt freshman at University of Kansas. So he's a Jayhawk for now, and proud dad supporting him. So
Man,
we
you keep throwing
out there
that out
checking
there
him
for
out,
now
man.
stuff. You
Yeah.
like that for now, just to be safe.
I
You're
have to
still
keep hope
hoping.
alive, man. I got to keep hope alive. I got to keep hope alive. So we'll see. It's a
So,
long career. So we're only on year 2. So we got some time.
so the coaching staff, I assume that they know that he is your son. Is
Yeah.
there any concerns that they have? Do they put any, I don't know, earmuffs on you so you can't really hear anything? You can only see it practice. What's that practice experience like going to Kansas to watch your son?
Oh, no, he's my son, man. So what am I going to do? Go back and tell him, oh, man, they're doing this. But no, it's nothing like that. They're cool. I mean, they know that's my son, and, I've been here, and I support him like crazy, and, do the whole thing. I wasn't, it wasn't like, hey, you can't go there. I was like, man, if this is where you feel like you're supposed to be, this is where you're supposed to be. So they,
So how's your
they were nervous before, but I was like, man, this is his journey, and I'm
yeah,
supporting it. So don't worry about me. I'll be all
that
right.
that's a good, you know what? That's good parenting. That's a good
Yeah.
dad there. So
Yeah.
how's your summer been? I was just telling you when we jumped on. I just got back. I had a wonderful time in Hawaii. It's one of those trips that growing up, I never thought I would ever have a chance to go there once. And now I've already been there 3 times and just been fortunate enough. This latest venture, a friend of mine was getting married. And so
Mm.
you can call me Minister Dave now because I'm
Oh.
not sure if I still have it here in front of me, but oh, here it is. So I am a minister with the Universal Life Church. So if you ever need someone
Okay.
for a wedding, I would
All
love
right.
to officiate your wedding. We had a blast. So it was a college friend of mine that was getting married on the beach, and uh, it's kind of intimidating being the very first time to minister the wedding
Hmm.
covenant to, at least it was a friend of mine, right? But to do
Right.
that in an audience, but it was beautiful out there on Oahu on the beach. So we had a really good trip there. And then I infiltrated some hiking trips in for my 17-year-old daughter and my wife. My daughter was more rambunctious and more had a little bit more energy for the walks. We went
Hmm.
on what was called, and I'll let you Google this, but Coco's Crater. It's a
Okay.
1,048 railroad ties that basically go straight up a mountain. And
Oh man.
it was so hot, but once you get up there, the views are fantastic. You get to see almost the entire island from up there. So we had a wonderful day. My wife flipped me off no fewer than 3 times when we were going up and down,
On the
because
hike. Yeah.
you got to go up, but then once you get
Yeah.
up there, great views, and then you got to go down. And by that time, your
Yeah.
legs are shot, your thighs are shot. So then the
Yeah.
next day, we went on another one, another hike. This one was called Manoa Falls.
Mhm.
So it's not very far from the University of Hawaii, and it's more on a kind of tropical feel to it. There's rainfall, there are falls that come down from the clouds that pass through the mountains, and so it gathers a
Hmm.
lot of rainwater from those
Oh
clouds,
yeah.
and so there's just such a great time. So there's some falls that come with that. Everything is wet, so it's mud and rock, so you gotta be really careful about going out, but a little bit easier but still challenging in comparison to the Cocos Crater that was straight up and straight down. So
Yeah.
had a great time in Hawaii. Did some shopping. Did a round of golf. In fact, I went to that. I don't know if you've seen TikTok, but there's this magnificent McDonald's drive-through that you can go through, and the backdrop of it as you're going through is this huge mountain, and
Oh
with
no.
the clouds coming in over it. Super super sight. I'll have to show you sometime.
Oh man. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
My summer wasn't as eventful. I just been, working and training kids. I've been training my youngest to getting him ready for the season and training a couple of his friends, doing some individual stuff, and had my mom with me pretty much the summer. I spent a lot of good time with mom and got to spend some time with her grandkids and stuff. So that's it, man. Been family, family, family for me. A little bit of
Well,
travel
that's
in
good
there.
though.
So
That sounds like a great
yeah,
time though.
yeah. No complaints,
So,
man.
so does 7-on-7 start, or have they started yet?
No, this is so Bryce will be playing middle school football. So they've had a camp already and now we got practice starting next week. So on Wednesday
Ooh,
officially. So, you know,
okay.
stuff is
So
about to kick off now.
how many days now since we were little? It seemed like you had to practice 3 days before you can go into
Mhm.
pads. Is that still
Yep.
the case, or what is the
Yep.
schedule
It's
like?
still the same. It's 3 days of helmets before you can put on pads. So yep. So we'll start. That's why we're doing it on the 19th. We'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before school starts that following week, and then we'll start that first week of school right with full pads. So assuming everybody's there.
Okay.
So
Well, again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. For some of you, this may be a first time. It feels like a first time for us because it has been a while. We're
it's been a
still
while.
technically in our summer hiatus. Marcus
Yeah.
is driving back. Marcus Pfizer is driving back from Idaho, dropping off his son. So he's doing a little bit of the reverse of what you are doing this week there,
Yeah.
Brent,
Yeah.
and hopes to be on for our next show, which may, in fact, I believe, could be the Iowa Distilling live podcast on the 29th. Does that
29th,
sound
right?
right to you?
Think so. Yep. 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 That does sound
So,
right.
so that should be a lot of fun. Again, we really focus a lot on Iowa State. I would say 90% of it's basketball, football, and some women's basketball, just because I have an affection for them and follow them quite a bit. So we do plan to get together with ourselves and Marcus. Even we're waiting for him to lock that in, but he may be making a return back to Central Iowa with his wife to be able to attend that with us and coming. So be careful, be watchful of the social media. I think Chris is going to start putting some things out on that later this week or next week to advertise on it. So hope to see a lot of you there. But today we want to talk a little bit of football. A lot has happened since since we were last on. First, there was the whole Texas Tech saga and Brendan Sorsby and whether he's going to play or
All
he's not
right.
going to not play. It seems like forever ago, but for a while there, a judge had issued an injunction that would allow him to play, and then the Big 12 member conference teams in universities really there was an uproar of dissatisfaction with that. And then the Big 12 put a filing with federal court, just went on and on. Sorsby withdrew. I had talked a little bit about entering the NFL draft. The NFL said no, asked to enter the Canadian Football League. Canadian Football League said no. So Brandon Sorsby is now sidelined, sitting and waiting until the draft next season, 2027. Before we see, we also had the Big 12 Conference Media Day, and Brett Yormark had announced a $1 million, roughly $1 million per year for each Big 12 institution to put Monster logo on the side of the basketball court as well as on the football jerseys. So I thought that would be a rather interesting plunge for us to jump into. I've got a vested interest because the company I work for, we work
Right.
heavily with Monster, so that's a good
Uh,
thing as I see it.
yeah.
It feels like it's a great deal for Monster, maybe not as much of a good deal in retrospect, just due to the value of the court and value of those jerseys on TV every week. We
Right.
haven't really talked much about this. Are you a fan of Monster energy drinks?
I mean, I'm not really big on energy drinks anymore. But yeah, I used to drink Monsters all the time, and still do, honestly, when I need a true pick me up. So,
Okay.
you know,
So now that we've had some time pass with the announcement, and I've seen some mock-ups, I was going to put one out, but I don't really know if it's the honest to goodness version that we'll see on the jerseys this year. But it looks like the Big 12 with a patch with Monster right next to it, and it's the green Monster versus all the different flavors and the mixtures that are out there.
yeah.
What thoughts on seeing Monster now throughout the Big 12?
I mean, I think if they're gonna have it for each school, I feel like we should have like if they're gonna go, they should go all in and give each school their own colors. So at least it blends in with the jerseys or, at least show some of the school stuff. But I don't know about the green and black monster patch on the jerseys to me. I mean, it's great marketing for them with all the
Oh
TV
yeah.
time they'll get. But yeah, I don't know if, for us, how aesthetically that'll look. You know what I mean? Because I almost feel like we're going to the feels like NFL year when they had all the big
Yeah.
patches and stuff across their joint, and it's like, yeah, it kind of takes away from the jersey. You know what I mean? So
As a player, is that something you guys look at? I know that's been a number of years ago, but is that something you look at and go, oh, we're looking a little bit too much like a billboard? Or is this something that
yeah,
it's just the reality of the sport today?
yeah, I think obviously it's changed so much because when did we have patches unless it was for a big game? You're talking bowl games, maybe a Big 12 championship game or something like that. There weren't really a ton of patches on our jerseys, so for us, it meant something, but now it's such a business, right? You have to have schools have to get creative and find sponsorship somewhere. You got to find some more money somewhere, and if these people are going to give them money, it's a fair trade off, right? So
Hmm.
you almost have to deal with it. But as a player, you just putting it on because the reality is, as long as you can see the name on the front and the name on the back, we're good to roll. You know, see our school name there. You know who we're playing for, and these guys, for notoriety's sake, still have their names on the back of their jersey. So, you know, everything else kind
So,
of falls in place.
completely random question as I sit here. Would there be a patch that came on your jersey that you would think, okay, this is pretty cool? That'll get you
Like
excited.
from
I,
a
I don't
sponsor
know.
sake or just
Yeah, Lamborghini, Ferrari, somebody like
oh
that.
yeah,
Or
any of
is there one that you
those.
go, oh, I want that one?
I mean, if it was something like that, I'd love to. Yeah, if we had any of the big ones, right? A Lambo, a Ferrari, something like that, I'd be all about it. Um, what immediately comes to mind? I don't know. Nothing immediately. I like where your head's at with the Lamborghini Ferrari. I I just wonder if it would be something that the players themselves can get into with their NIL deals. Can they seek deals from
Ooh.
places and these companies are like, hey, what if we're paying this guy particularly? Can we, snap a patch on something, right, for them to rock it? Just like some guys in the NFL are only working with Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, right? It's
Hmm.
some of the same, right? Can players do that too? Or would they
You
have
know,
the ability to do that?
we have come so far. Remember in Chris Shipley will remember this because he's such a Bears fan, but quarterback Jim McMahon, he had that thick headband, and he would write something on there that would piss off Pete Rozelle, the commissioner of the NFL, and he'd be McMahon would be fined or have some words spoken to him about that. And here, you bring a good point. Like, what's to stop an athlete from being reimbursed by someone and having a
Mhm.
headband that represents that industry, that company, or to have something around their neck or wristbands. You
Yeah.
bring a great question up.
I mean, it's all marketing, right? So if they're not getting it on social media and they're allowing it on TV, I mean, if I'm a company, that's what I would do. Like, hey,
Hmm.
rock this merch. We'll pay you X amount of dollars. So, I mean, that's where the game's going, right? So maybe the schools can reach out to people and do that. Like, hey, we want 4 branded athletes to wear this on game days. You guys give us so much money. And that, essentially washes out whatever NIL monies would, come from the fund or whatever. And that goes straight to those athletes. So,
Well, and a lot of these, whether it's the coaching position or the athletic department, the AD is now an endowed position.
right.
Is there a
Mhm.
world where schmucks like us could put together, hey, we really like the original or the early 90s Iowa State logo. We like Sinado the most. So we're going to sponsor 4 football players to wear Sinado on their jersey or on their helmets. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think there is a world, but I don't know if we can afford it given what
Yeah,
these
yeah,
cats are
yeah.
making now.
That's true. That's true. So the Big 12 Conference Media Day, Jimmy Rogers had voted for the Cyclones to win the Big 12 Conference, and I found it somewhat compelling for Coach to stand up and write his name down, and his reasoning was pretty simple. And it was, hey, if my guys don't believe that I believe in them, then what am I doing? That
Yeah.
I'm in I'm in the background, or I'm in front of them every single day. We're talking about winning. We're talking about commitment. We're talking about things that we need to do in the weight room. That if I'm not voting them as being the top team, then I'm sending the wrong message. I thought that was pretty compelling. What were your thoughts?
I can appreciate it, man. It's one of those things. Your coach has to be the first believer so that I know I can play for him. And that's how Coach Mack was for me. It's like no matter where we were, I mean, we went 2-10, and my freshman year to a bowl game the next year, and that's because of a silly phrase that he came up with. But it's just one of those things that he bought into it, so we bought into it. And it all starts from the top down. So if the head honcho feels that way, it gives you guys a lot more confidence. You want to go play for him because he says, I don't care who has our back, I got it. So you ride for me, I'll ride for you.
You said silly phrase. What's the
It was
silly
Oot
phrase?
Matia.
Okay, we got to hear
Yeah.
what Oot
He- he-
Matia.
yeah, it was an acronym. It was one of the most improved teams in America. Boot Matia, one of the OOT most improved MITIA.
Huh,
Boot Matia. Yeah. Yeah, shirts made and all of that. Yeah.
really?
But that was kind of our moniker, and we ran with it, right? That was my sophomore year, and we went six. Let's say we went to the ball game, so that's when we played. That's when we won against Miami of Ohio. So that was we turned the tide that year, and changed things for the better. So
Yes, she did. Some of the things I'd love to hear your thoughts on this coaching staff. I think when they've come in, we've heard a lot of things that, at least from myself, I found very appealing, very comparable to things that Matt Campbell was doing when he came in. His staff came in, Campbell's staff came in, and they were on the road, like from day one. You never really saw them, and they really seemed to be moving in one direction, in a uniform direction. I'm seeing a lot of the same things with this staff by Jimmy Rogers. Um, Again, we've talked a little bit before about Coach Rogers and how he feels about his team, and that he's going to vote them as being the team expected to be in the conference championship game. That's the right message, I think, to send to your players. Um, but he's also they're very willful, very intentional about who they are and who they are not. They came in and they're not going to apologize for the players that they brought in. They're not going to apologize for, we're hearing a lot of stories now about the numbers and the dollars, that there may have been players here under one financial scheme under Coach Campbell that Coach Rogers and his staff came in and said, "You're not going to make as much for us. That we run a different scheme." And those are some tough decisions to have to make to those players. And a lot of us were sitting back going, "Oh, I can't believe we're losing this guy. We can't believe we're losing that guy." But it sounds like the Rogers staff came in very deliberately and have a plan and had a plan from day one about who they were willing to stay in at what price, while the rest of us were thinking that the house is being burned down. In Brent, in retrospect, can you see some things there that you like, or some takeaways now that we're about 6-8 months into this process with Coach Rogers?
I think he did. You know, he's moving the way he's supposed to move, right? He had a blank canvas. He had to start from scratch. And you have to, anytime you come into a program, you got to establish the new identity, and figure out what that's going to be. And he's got a clear cut plan. So, um, you got to commend him for knocking it down and sticking to it. I think, um, but what they're doing, man, it's the same thing, right? Campbell came in, he brought his core group of guys with him from what Toledo, and he's had some guys that he was recruiting there, and he knew would be great pieces. And I mean, Rogers doing the same thing. And kudos to him, because you have to run it like a business now. You're gonna have to have those tough conversations, and tell guys like, "Hey, I can't. You're not gonna make that now. It's just not how this is gonna work, because we have to right the ship." And out with the old and with the new. So he's creating his own path, man. You can't be mad at it. And now it's just a matter of, kind of letting the paint dry and see what kind of picture we got.
I think that a lot of their comments that are coming out of media today, or even some of the team interviews that they're holding now that practice have started, they're talking about being very deliberate. It feels like a lot of the same, while the coaching staff is saying some similar things and doing similar things that Coach Campbell. Philosophies, though, schematics seem to fall under what McCarney came in to do. Is like, hey, we're going to come in, we're going to run the ball and possess it, and we'll take some shots to go downfield when we can. But for the most part, it's about possession, and we're going to punch you in the mouth. It all starts with the line, O line and D line. They talk a lot about, and we've talked about it previously, the violence, being violent, being physical, having discipline. The days of false starts and offsides don't seem to be widely accepted under this staff. They
Hmm.
just don't seem to have patience for mental errors. Are you
Yeah.
seeing some similarities from some of those McCarney teams that you played with?
Hmm. I mean, I guess for me, the identity was set. with who we were. I mean, we were Iowa State's been like a run first team since, forever. Well, since Troy Davis days for sure.
Hmm.
So it's one of those. We're gonna tote the rock. We're gonna try to control the clock, and you control the things that you can't control. And if you can control being physical and beating dudes up nonstop and having the guys that had the fortitude to say, I'm good no matter what, I'll go 80, 90 snaps a game. You got a different breed of dudes because it's a lot of teams that rotate so much and the guys can't take the beat downs like that. So if you're establishing, your team's mindset is I don't care how you feel. We're in much better shape than you are, and we're going to control the ball. So now you're going to have to beat us one way, right? If we're running the ball all the time and we can milk the clock, we score. Now you got to take it down the field a whole lot quicker than we do, right? Put the ball in the air, and that might play to our advantage. Um, so I mean, he's establishing his identity, man. You got to appreciate it.
Well, and it feels like from a defensive standpoint, it's hey, we're going to let the defense sort of control and dictate things. Yes, our offense is going to be out there. We're going to run the ball. We're going to take our shots, but for the most part, we're going to rely heavily on that defense. And you're a defensive guy at Iowa State. What are your thoughts when you hear some of that coming out? That hey, we're going to focus really on the defense, rely on the inside out. And would you prefer, as a player, to have the defense be the one that's, I don't want to say in control necessarily, but the one that's really put up on a pedestal of, hey, our success is going to rely upon the defense? Or would you rather see a team that is more vertically integrated, that it's more, hey, let's put the ball down the field, let's score, 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 which we've had some of those teams in the past. And I'm sure the fans like that type of up tempo game. But at the end of the day, defense wins, right?
Yeah, I mean, the old saying, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, right? Like I mean, and that's so true. Think about the Ravens Super Bowl, right? Like their offense wasn't great, but Jamal Lewis would run the rock 40 times a game
Oh, yeah.
and then they would figure it out. You know what I mean? And you're winning 10-7. And if, the old adage on the defense is they don't score, they don't win. So I'm a defensive minded guy. So if I can hold teams to 7 points, 10 points, then I'd like to think my offense will score more than that. And that's all we need. We need 2 touchdowns a week from you because we're going to stop everybody else from scoring that. And I think that's a championship minded team. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If you can scheme guys up, and he's a really big defensive guy, like he's been great defensively, the schools that he's been at, I expect our defense to be really good. So he knows what he's doing on that side of the ball. And, offensively, they'll fall in place, do what they need to do.
Well, and I think all the team captains were announced earlier in the week. So this is all catch up that I'm able to do from from the beach. But so Max Boughton, defensive tackle, he was one of the guys that played at South Dakota State, went with the staff to Washington State, now is at Iowa State. He's a
Mhm.
captain. Two holdovers, David Coffey and Aiden Flora. Coffey is on the defensive side. Of course, Flora is special teams and running back. Jalen Rayner transferred in from SEMO. He's also on the Danny Werfel trophy watch list. I saw that. Jake Taylor, offensive lineman, transferred in from Oklahoma. And then Isaac Taylor, another Washington State guy. Can you take any inferences that this is his first season, Coach Rogers' first season, and the even splits that I've got two that are returning, I've got two that are transferring in from other schools not associated with me, and then I've got two associated from Washington State that are captains. Can you read into anything on that as a former player?
Nah, I mean, leaders are leaders. I mean, I don't think it matters because some guys can come from different schools and, turn the organization upside down. It's like, hey, if they're natural leaders and the guys gravitate to them and they listen to them, then you just got to go with what your team shows you. I don't think it's one of those, he chose the guys. I think they pay attention to who's the first one to call it up, who's picking the team up when, we're lacking or whatever the case may be. And yeah, I wouldn't read a ton into it, in my
Okay.
opinion, anyway.
Okay. At what point do we start handing out letter grades for the coaching staff. Do we have to wait until the end of the season, or is that something you think that we'll see relatively early in the year?
Nah, you got to wait to the end of the season. I mean, because this game has evolved so much, and there was a lot of change that happened in a short period of time. And I think with he did what he could with what he had. For a guy to inherit pretty much a brand new team, it's damn near like having a JUCO, right? Like you recycle brand new guys, so now you got to train them all up and take a couple guys with you and just kind of figure it out. So I think end of the year is best. Hold your grades until the end, and the way you can ride the train for the entirety of the trip, and not ding it too soon. So
Well, and there's two nuggets I wanted to maybe point out. I think that we've sort of anticipated that defensively we will be focused. That's going to be the focus, right? Maybe the defense will be ahead of the offense. But then I've heard some scuttle about Aiden Flora that they may use him in some packages a la Christian McCaffrey, which gets me really excited because I think that's something we saw during the spring practice that we thought, boy, this guy, he's got these moves, right? He can get in and get
yeah,
out, and
yeah.
he's so fast. And you put him one on one with the linebacker, he's probably going to win that battle.
hmm
And then I'm also hearing some, which was my concern with Jalen Rayner. His accuracy was a question mark, but then I'm hearing a lot of good things about him, of course, and then Flora. And then there's a offensive guy, a wide receiver, Amari Hayes, who transferred in from Tulane that looks super speedy, super fast. That all of a sudden gets me excited that, okay, we're talking about the running game and establishing the strength up front, but I'm hearing about some of these guys that you put them in space. They could maybe make some big plays happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the floor is a dynamic player anyway, so give him the ball, and you got to see a lot of that on paper last year with the kick returns and stuff. But um, give those guys the ball. You create plays for guys like that, so that's good that they're finding a way to feature him a little bit. But man, it's so early, right? Like accuracy is gonna always be a thing for every quarterback. You know, there's not a ton of truly super, super, super accurate quarterbacks as the league goes, but there's a lot of guys that are gamers. If you can extend the play and move the ball down the field, man, some kind of way, they'll find a way to play to his strengths. So I think he'll be able to throw it just fine because he did it just fine against us when they played us last year.
True.
So yeah, I think he'll be just fine.
So we're roughly 2 weeks in, 3 weeks to the first game. Anything that you want to see or hear in the coming weeks? One things that I think about are I would love to see a depth chart. I went on their website. I saw one from December of 2025. Is there anything you want to see? Would you prefer to see a depth chart that shows definitive starters, or would you rather see that there's still a lot of competition going on? It feels like quarterback. You
Competition is
you want the
good.
quarterback established by
Yeah,
game one, right?
yeah,
But
having
other
your
positions,
QB
does it
is the
matter?
guy. Yeah, not really. I mean, I don't think it does matter. I mean, having a week in, week out thing is just fine. I just wouldn't put so many things happen, right? You're talking about injuries, game planning, because you may have this dynamic player that we might not be able to use because if they take that chess piece off of the board and we've game planned so much into him, that's a problem for our offense, right? So it's one of those things. It's good to have some depth around and good to see some of that stuff. But as coaches, you do the very best with what you got, put those guys in a better position to make plays and use their attributes and get the most out of them. Shit, every Saturday or Friday for that matter, whatever the days the games are on.
All right, Brent, this feels like a good time. Let's hear a word from our sponsors. We'll come back on the other side and continue talking a little bit more football.
Whiskey
All right.
lovers, get ready for the ultimate experience at Whiskey Fest 2026. From exclusive tastings and live music to unforgettable networking and premium pours, this is the can't-miss whiskey event of the year. Kick things off Thursday, October 1st with the Women in Whiskey Dinner at River Center DSM. Then Friday night, October 2nd, enjoy the VIP whiskey tasting event at the Meridian in West Des Moines. The celebration wraps up Saturday, October 3rd, with the whiskey tasting main event featuring incredible brands, bold flavors, VIP early entry, and more. To top it off, Old Man Strength will be broadcasting live Friday night from the VIP event. Raise your glass and join the experience at Whiskey Fest 2026.
What happens when Iowa grain meets world-class craftsmanship? At Revelton Distilling Company, every bottle begins right here in the heartland. From locally sourced Iowa corn and rye to the final pour, our grain-to-glass process ensures exceptional quality in every sip. Whether you're enjoying our award-winning mulberry gin, smooth honey whiskey, or rich whiskey and cream liqueur, you're tasting the best of Iowa in every bottle. And now, Revelton can ship directly to 48 states across the country. Visit ReveltonDistillery.com and have Iowa's finest delivered right to your door.
In the heart of Des Moines, one name stands above the rest. Step inside, where tradition still matters. Warm, familiar, unmistakably Iowa, where every guest is welcomed like family. Service that's personal and never rushed. Fresh starts made daily. Iowa beef, hand-seasoned. Guided by fire, built on flavor. Served with pride. A bar as bold as the menu. Featuring the old-fashioned we're known for. A place that stays with you long after the night ends. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, 1201 East Euclid Avenue, Des Moines.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's why choosing the right real estate team matters. The Jenny Farrell team with RE/MAX Concepts has been helping families across the Des Moines metro find the right home since 1998. Born and raised right here in the community, Jenny understands the neighborhoods, the market, and what truly makes a house feel like home. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your space, or preparing to sell, the Jenny Farrell team provides expert guidance every step of the way, from market analysis and listings to negotiations and closing. Their consultative approach means you'll feel confident, informed, and supported throughout the entire process. Jenny Farrell Team, RE/MAX Concepts. Call or text 515-779-7500. Visit jenniferfarrell.remax.com. Experience you can trust. Results you can move into.
At Three Beards Media, giving back to our community has always been at the heart of what we do. That's why we're proud to welcome No Pros Remodeling as our official community outreach partner. Thinking about transforming your home? From stunning kitchen renovations, all while still being able to use your kitchen, to gorgeous bathroom remodels that take a fraction of the time, No Pros delivers craftsmanship you'll love. Best of all, they can help you save up to 75% compared to the other guys. When you're ready to transform your home into your dream home, call No Pros Remodeling at 515-679-6509 or visit www.nopros.com. No Pros Remodeling, creating stunning home transformations while helping Three Beards Media make a difference in our communities.
All right, we're back. No Pros. So this is the first time watching that commercial. I swear to God that they just took Chris Shipley's kitchen and remodeled it as well as his bathroom and then put it on our commercial.
There you go.
Goodness, that's his kitchen.
That's what it's about.
It looks good, by the way.
Mm-hmm. It
Looks
does. It
really good.
does.
All right, Brent, we were last chatting before the commercial break. We were talking a little bit about football. One of the announcements, though, was that the Iowa State rivalry will continue for another 4 seasons through the 2031 season. Previous agreement was through 2027. 2031 also incidentally corresponds with the new college football television package. So there could be a lot that happens between now and then, but we got to play this game, right?
Got to play the Iowa State game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good for the state. I mean, that's historically just a game that has to be played. So yeah, got to, no matter what.
So, I looked this up. I was shocked, believe it or not. So, Iowa had that 15-year streak that they won, and that Cyclones, J.J. Moses in particular was part of that stopped the streak in 1998. So since that game, it's just a 14-13 split with Iowa in the lead in head-to-head matches. 14-13. So that leads me to believe like this is one of the best matches in all of college football when you have a rivalry that's off by just one game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we got to. Like I said, it's great. It'll always be heavily attended for the state. It's just one of those things that bragging rights for the state, man. It's one of those that we have to do. Got to find a way to keep this one going.
Of course, this year's game is going to be played in Iowa City. I think it's a 6 or 6:30 kickoff, which that's going to be an absolutely amazing feeling. Did you now you were part of some night games in Kinnick, weren't you?
No, I was not.
No? Okay. For some reason I thought
Nope.
you might have been. What about that Seneca year? Was that
That was before me.
that was just before you?
The
Okay.
year before, yep. Year before I got there.
Oh,
I
so
was
you
like,
missed
oh, this is
that. My
why
bad.
that's why I'll come to Iowa State if this is how it is. I was watching it at home. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, my
Redondo
friend.
Beach, huh?
One of the other announcements that we heard, Jamie Pollard, obviously, I think we heard this just before our interview with Monte Morris, but Jamie Pollard has announced that he's retiring
Mm,
and expects his replacement now to be in place by the end of the football season or certainly the start of the basketball season. Um, I know that from a player's perspective, I'd be curious, what are some of what's the type of guy or gal person that you would be wanting to fulfill this seat? Again, only from the perspective as a former player. I think as fans, as alums, we all sort of kind of envision, we've heard it out there. A lot of what they're talking about is, someone that understands the current landscape, right? That
for sure.
could sort of flow with it, and if not, sort of push the envelope at times to manage the landscape, all the money that's coming in. You made
Yeah.
reference earlier; it's a business now.
Yeah.
Look at innovative ways to raise money and resources, and a lot of that are the things that we saw in Jamie Pollard, right? He's really pushed the envelope in a lot of areas, right or wrong. He's pushed that and gotten fans outside of a comfort zone at times. And he's frankly pissed off a lot of fans at times, which you can love him or hate him for that. What,
Hmm.
again, from a former player perspective, what are things that you are hoping to find or see in the next athletic director at Iowa State?
I think you hit a lot of the nails on the head, man. A younger guy, or gal for that matter, but a younger person that kind of understands the landscape because this is a business now, more so than it ever has been. And somebody that's still, player first. So, kind of understands the players and wants better form, better conditions, for all the athletes. Because you hate to hear some of the stories that our old gymnasts were going through, and some of the practicing conditions and stuff like that that they had to endure when they were preparing. So, just need somebody that encompasses all the sports, and it's like a man amongst the people. So the guys like him too, and I think on the other side of that, I'm kind of curious to see what change happens, because usually you get a new AD, then some change
Mhm.
happens, right? So where is the change going to come from? Um,
Well, and one of those changes may have happened as a result of the new president, David Cook. There's an announcement about alcohol now being served at Jack Trice Stadium, at Hilton
hmm
Coliseum. Of course, now you cannot leave. This is one of the things that Iowa State fans have been doing for decades, leaving at halftime, tailgating, coming back, and then we have empty seats to start the third quarter, start to fill
Yeah,
up midway through the third quarter. Now they're going to start selling alcohol in the stadium, so there's no need to leave, they
right.
feel. That appears to be one of the said changes that's coming, and perhaps, again, led by David Cook rather than um, Jamie Pollard, who had said that it would never happen under his watch. Well, it is slightly under his watch.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of his watch, I guess,
Yeah, that's right.
but doesn't
I've
have as
got
much say, I guess, anymore.
got a comment under her asking about Fred Hoiberg as the athletic director. To be honest, I think that'd be a great, smart move as well. I don't
Sure.
see it happening. I think that Fred wants to coach. I think that he's where he wants to be, makes the type of money that he wants. But I tell you what, if you wanted to financially take a step back, he'd be a great fit at Iowa State. He's smart. He was a part of the management team up at Minnesota with the Timberwolves at one point in early in his career as well, before he came and took the Iowa State job. But I would love to see
hmm
Fred as athletic director.
For sure. Yeah. Somebody with ties already, that'd be great. But I think that'd be a hard sell, for a guy like Fred and where he's at and what he's doing. But it'd be great to have him back.
When you say hard sell, this there's only so many athletic director jobs open, right? Especially in the Power Four. What makes this job more appealing than others, and what makes this job less appealing? I think the obvious is financial resources. You're in middle Iowa. It's not Hawaii. It's not Texas.
Mhm.
It's not Florida. Um, but there's a lot of positives about
Yeah.
Ames, Iowa.
For sure. I mean, and not taking anything away from Ames. I think I'm talking about going from, the NBA and having your hands in the coaching side of things to now go to the other side of it, and now you're overseeing all sports and that's why I said that'd be a hard sell. But um I think I think that I'll start with the negatives, I guess. So I think it'd be
Not a lot of negatives there, Brent, because you've just cut out on me. You may have to log back out and log back in. That's the oddest thing that's ever happened. So, Denny, I would agree. Ryan Harden is, I think, an up and comer. Perhaps one of the disadvantages that he faces, it's the football program runs college athletics, especially at a place like Iowa State and pretty much anywhere in the Big 12, um, in any of the Power Four for that matter. And so for him to come from Drake, and he's done a lot of remarkable things, especially in his coaching hires for on the basketball side, and really for the football side as well. They've seen a lot of success, but it's that non-scholarship division. So they've really struggled in terms of. Um, I think that there would be a struggle. Excuse me, in terms of going from a non-scholarship football program to such a large one with the Big 12 conference. But I tell you what, I've admired Brian Harden from afar. I think he'd be a great fit from a cultural perspective. I think that there would be challenges there, um, that he would automatically be faced. But certainly from an age and demographic standpoint, you want someone that's probably going to be there for 15, 20 years. And I think Brian Harden's one of those guys where there's been some discussion about the athletic director, I think at South Dakota State, that's a little bit older. And the question is, how long would he be there? Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think that with the changing landscape with NIL and pay for play with college athletics as a whole, what we're seeing today is probably going to be a lot different in 5 years and certainly in 10 years. So maybe having someone that's a little bit of a shorter term person that could come in and be able to take over for that period of time might be a good thing, for the short term while you transition into what college football looks like, especially with that two new football deal coming through in 2031. Brent, you're just going to share with us maybe some of the downside of the athletic director
Oh,
role at
yeah.
Iowa State.
Sorry, I got a call and it just knocked me out. So my apologies. But no, I was just gonna say the pressure, right? Because it's like everything is about production now. It's about producing and winning and that. So I think that'd be one of the pressure of performing would be one of the harder things because talked about the change that has to happen. When it happened for me, the head coach of the football team was fired, and that was Coach McCarney when Jamie came along. So just one of those things that I think the pressure with whatever the restructure looks like to make the university um, successful. So I think that's one of those things that'll be a tough sell because you can, make a lot of people not like you early on, right? Getting rid of beloved people or cutting sports and that sort of thing. So um, I think those are the negatives I was going to speak of before I got cut off there.
No, totally understand. Another comparison that I think that I've heard that I like is someone that's like Brett Yormark. I think the Big 12 commissioner is someone that's come in and knocked some heads and really forced conference members to think a little bit differently, come in with being aggressive on some of these new deals. And we talked a little bit earlier about Monster and that. You've got to have someone that's willing to try something. And Brett Yormark is certainly willing to do that. And I think for that matter, Jamie Pollard's been that type too for over the years. We've seen a lot of good things with Town, and granted, we're still in the early phases of that. But if we could fast forward 5 and 10 years down the road of what Town could become, certainly
Yeah.
that could be a major driver of a lot of things in the campus town area and for the Iowa State men's and basketball teams. Again, it's a big landscape change, and Jamie's been there for 21, 22 years, and things are going to evolve probably at a much faster pace than what they did in the last 20. I mean, you could see that type of change in 5 years, 6 years. Hopefully not as
hmm
drastic with all the Big 12 and teams moving around to conferences and the explosion of the Big 12 conference. But reality is that things are going to keep changing. It's not going to stay status, and you got to have an athletic director that can shift with it.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
All right, and then I want to close out too. I've not looked, but this was on my agenda before I went out of town. But the Broncos had signed Hakeem Butler, which I thought is so cool. We talked about him a couple of months ago. That does Hakeem Butler get a second chance? Brent, you called it. You said he should, and here he is with the Broncos. I've not looked, so hopefully he's still there
Yeah, I
in
haven't looked
training
either.
camp. But I thought that was good. And again, one of his Bronco coaches is none other than former Cyclone Kyle Kemp. So
Sometimes that's what
that's
it
kind of
takes,
cool
man.
too. That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
it takes a coach being there to help you out sometimes too. So just to show
That's
that you
right.
belong.
All right, my friend. Anything that I missed that we wanted to touch on? We may not talk for another 2 weeks until our live episode at Iowa Distilling Company. So anything that we wanted to touch on just to get caught up on?
Man, I've got nothing. I don't have much. My brain is so scrambled and I'm exhausted after this trip, man. So I've got nothing.
Boy, I don't know how you did it. That's a long drive.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
long
yeah,
drive. What was
yeah.
Houston to Lawrence then? What did you do that in one
Uh,
trip?
yeah. This was 9.5, 9.5 this morning. I left at about 5 o'clock. Was on the road at 5 this morning. Got here
Okay.
this afternoon about 2:30. So
Feels like you may have sped a little bit to get from Houston.
speed limit 75, man. That helps a lot.
That's
It
right.
helps a lot.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everyone for joining. It's a privilege, and we ask that you again like, subscribe, and share with others, especially as you're looking for new outlets with Central Iowa Radio. Just gone to the shits. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to add us to your podcast rotation and to be on. We're usually on Sunday evenings. We're on a every other week rotation, but
Mm.
we will be live on the 29th on Saturday, and then we start to go to a weekly Sunday night schedule as the Cyclones begin their season on September 5th against SEMO. Again, remember to like our sponsors, just like the old days of radio. Without their sponsors, we wouldn't be possible. So thank you to them, to our title sponsor, Revelton Distilling, and our studio sponsor, Andrew Downs and AKC Marketing. We also love our friends over there at Iowa Beef Steakhouse and the always stylish Julia Bradshaw and Style by JJ Boutique, and the official realtor of the show, Jenny Farrell with Remax, and our new sponsor, No Pros, the pros for all of our and your remodeling needs. So check out some of the other Three Beards media shows as well. We've got a sister podcast, Tracking the Storm, and those guys are actually they're just killing it with some of their guests, and they've been going on a weekly cadence as well, and have had some really good interviews lately. I had a chance to be on as we talked to Dan McCarney and a bunch of former players with the passing of former coach Jim Walden. So I'd certainly encourage you to check out Tracking the Storm. Of course, the original podcast, Old Man Strength, is still kicking. And then starting August 24th, a very familiar face returns. That's right, Steph Copley joins Three Beards Media with Say All the Damn Things. So that should be a lot of fun if you know Steph's personality. That's going to be a podcast that you're going to definitely want to add. So again, thanks for joining us. Brent, good to see you, my friend. Don't forget, join us all live at Iowa Distilling and coming on August 29th. And there'll be more information on particulars on that. And we'll see you again next time. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.
When the team takes flight, Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. There's a cyclone brewing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Trice shakes when the team takes flight. Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. CYCLONES, Cyclone Nation.